Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Getting Hired for Your Ideal Job. This is how to land your ideal job in school leadership. Welcome to the training. I'm so happy you are here. Let's get everybody in and settled. And as you're coming into the webinar, I just want you to know that this webinar is designed for people who are currently in school leadership and they know they want to advance into a new position. So it's spring, you're making decisions about your career for next year, and you know that you are ready to move into a different position, whether it's advancing up into central office or you want to move to a different school, you want to take on a new challenge in your career. We're going to talk about how to transition from where you're at to where you want to be. Or if you want something different or you're not sure what that looks like, there are people who know exactly what they want and there are some people who don't know. It doesn't matter. Either way, we're going to cover all the bases for you here today. And if you've been in a position for a while, and I know some of you have been, you may have not dusted off your resume for a while, right? So if you're a little nervous about the whole interviewing and hiring process and just getting your feet back into that land of getting the resume ready and the cover letters and the references and all of that, we'll talk about how to help you get started in the interview process. If you happen to be a person who's really nervous or anxious about the interview process, we're going to cover how you can calm yourself down and how you can have fun and enjoy the process of finding the job that's just perfect for you. And if you're a person who wants to land that job for the first time, I have created a webinar very similar to this about a year ago on how to get hired for your very first principalship. I'm going to cover all of that as well. So if you're new to the Empowered Principal program or the podcast or the book or to coaching, welcome. For those of you who are new to me, my name is Angela Kelly Robeck. I'm a former teacher and site administrator. I was an instructional coach before becoming a principal, a reading specialist, and then I was a principal for 6 years at 2 different sites before moving up to the district office. I left school leadership around 5 years ago to start my company, Angela Kelly Coaching, and what I offer is the Empowered Principal program. I am a certified life coach through the Life Coach School, and I'm very honored to be a certified life coach through the Life Coach School. And I am now a certified life and leadership coach for school leaders. So I help school leaders navigate the demands of the job, get into the position of their dreams, and then have fun while you're doing it and just enjoy the process of school leadership without being so overworked and overexerted and overwhelmed. Okay. I've helped dozens and dozens of clients. I've worked with hundreds of people throughout presentations and keynote speeches and on Zoom, group coaching and all of that. So I've done all kinds of coaching with school leaders, and I'm here to offer you the fastest way to land the job that you want to be in so that you can enjoy your career in school leadership or whatever position within the field of education that you're interested in, okay? So what I want to offer, for those of you who don't know me very well, just really quickly, I'll share with you that professionally, I served as a principal of 2 very different schools before moving up to the district level position. So I started my tenure as my first principalship, my first tenure as a school leader. I was at a brand new school in my district. So I had been teaching for about 15 years, and I was an instructional coach, and my superintendent kind of groomed me into becoming a school leader and getting my administrative credential. And then I was assigned as a brand new principal at a brand new school. And that was a choice program within our district. So I learned a lot on the job. It was like, drinking out of a fire hose in my learning process, those first 2 years, opening up a brand new school within our district. After those 2 years, and we had established all of the systems and foundations, they hired another new principal to come in and take over that school. And I ended up going back to my former school where I had been teaching for 15 years. So I now was leading my peers, which was an interesting dynamic and an interesting time to learn about how to be a leader in a very authentic way that people didn't feel like their peer had surpassed them or that their peer was talking down to them. So I really had to learn how to be a leader and hold space for other people, to want to be led by me and to show them that we were on the same team, in this together, and really helping them build up their careers and navigating parent situations and new teacher situations, new assignments. There's a lot of dynamics that go on in a large school, like the second school I taught at. So I've helped lots of teachers prepare for interviews, get hired. I love the hiring process. I loved it as a principal. I'm going to teach you the process that I developed for school leaders and for teachers who wanted to get into the position or change positions. So I've coached a lot on this topic, and I'm here to help you land your ideal job within the next year. Okay. So what you're going to gain out of the next 45 to 60 minutes is I'm going to teach you the 3 phases of the interview process and how to approach each of those phases. I'm going to identify the common mistakes that we all make when we're preparing to interview and what to do instead. And then I'm going to save you from chronically stressing out about the interview process. We want this to be fun. We want you to have energy and have fun and be playful. And yes, there might be times where you feel a little nervous or anxious, or you might feel disappointment because you went for a job you really wanted and you didn't get the offer. We're going to talk about how to handle the no and why it's good to get a lot of no's, and then how to create a yes. And really what I'm going to teach you is to fully sell yourself on the value that you have to offer so that you can then sell the people you're interviewing with on you. That's really what this is all about. Okay. So some quick housekeeping information. The training is going to last between 45 and 60 minutes. We're going to save our questions for the very end. And don't worry, we're going to have plenty of time to answer all of your questions. I will stay on for as long as you need for us to answer any questions that you have. So just jot your questions down on a piece of notebook. Just grab a notebook and you can take any notes that you want. You can take screenshots. I've got a few chart papers up here, and I do have some documents that I can share with you after the webinar if you want the PowerPoint presentation that I've created. And if you want the worksheets that go with this, just email me at angelakellycoaching@gmail.com and I will send you any documentation and notes that you want from this webinar. Okay, so let's see. For those interested in learning more about coaching and how to work directly with me, if you're new to coaching or you're curious about it, or you're interested, I am going to talk about that, but I'm going to save that for the end of the webinar because I want to make sure you guys get the content you came to get. So not to worry, there'll be plenty of time to answer those questions and to talk all about what coaching looks like and what you will experience and what you gain from that. There is not going to be a, what do I want to say, a replay of this webinar for now. I am recording it so that I can, it's for my own purposes, so I can learn and become a better presenter. But for now, I'm not going to be offering a replay. So I appreciate you all being on here live and here to learn and ready to go. So what I want you to start with is setting an intention that make a decision that by the end of this webinar, you will be very clear on what you want and the process you're going to use to get it. Okay, I'm going to teach you like the problems that you're going to come up against. I'm going to teach you some of the strategies to overcome those obstacles and pitfall. I call this pitfall planning. We're going to plan for those pitfalls ahead of time. I'm going to teach you the process you're going to use and then the results you're going to create. It's super fun. Okay, so phase 1 is about making the decision. So 3 phases to the decision-making process and the interview process for you to be able to land that job. And the first one is all about making the decision. And this all happens before you've ever decided to brush up your resume or to go through the process. This is the decision-making process that occurs before you start the preparation for the interviews, okay? Now, I highlight this step because we overlook it. It's very easy to overlook this step without intention, because in our minds, we think we're just like, it's time, I need a change, I need something different, or this is no longer fun for me, or I want more challenge. Your brain is going through the decision-making process, but you're not thinking about the decision-making process. So I highlight it on purpose to show you what's happening in your mind, because making decisions is the most powerful thing we do as humans. Because decisions, and the word decide means to cut off, decisions mean that you are like, every decision that you make, it enhances your career path. It changes the trajectory and the course of your career. So you want to be really mindful when you're making a decision and why you're making the decision, and the reasons for that decision, and if you like that decision. Because when you make a decision to advance your career or to change positions, you're evolving your self-concept of who you are as a school leader. And when you start thinking about that possibility, like who I can become as a school leader, who am I as a person, becoming a school leader, leading a school, having that much influence and impact and the ability to create change, having a position of power and authority and status and title, you have to evolve how you think about yourself, how you present yourself, how you show up. So this process is more than just, brushing up your resume and going into an interview. It's about, who do I have to become in order to land that ideal job? And you have to think about all the possibility. Who are you, and what do you have to offer? And what is possible for you in your career and your life? And this possibility that you start thinking about, I call it the possibility portal, where you're stepping into a whole new way of thinking about what's possible for your career and yourself as a school leader, and beyond school leadership into maybe district leadership. But when we start thinking about the possibility, that's where we get fired up. That's where we get energized. And that possibility leans into belief. And we start believing that it's possible for us to become a school leader, or to change jobs, or to have that ideal position that we're looking for. And there is a moment of decision. A decision happens in an instant, but the brain processes decisions ahead of time. You want to be very mindful about how you process decisions, because the way you make decisions about your career is the way you make decisions about everything in your life. Because the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. And you just want to be mindful of what is my decision-making process? How do I make decisions? Do I spend a lot of time gathering information, or do I make swift decisions? What are the reasons behind my decisions? Are they aligned to my leadership values and my life values? You want to feel very tethered and grounded in your decision-making process, because that is what helps you stay focused and stay aligned and have the decision that you're making for yourself feel good, right? So there's a moment of decision. And when you decide that, so for all of you who are brand new to school leadership, or you're an aspiring school leader, or you're in school leadership and you're aspiring maybe up to district level leadership, you have to be in that mindset of belief and possibility that you are capable of up-leveling yourself and your self-concept into that school leadership role. When you're in that energy and excitement, that's when you start to take action. You fuel your action through your mind and through your emotions. But what happens to us sometimes is we start down the path and then doubt sets in. There's something that comes up, an obstacle that's unexpected, or we didn't know we had to do this, or we are afraid we're not ready enough, or we don't know enough, or we need more time or more information, or we need to research more, or we need to learn more, right? There's some point through the process where doubt will set in, and then we hold ourselves back. We kind of slow down, or we tell ourselves we're not ready. We double down. We either like slow down the process and we stall out in inaction, or we double down trying to prepare ourselves, over prepare ourselves into like hyper preparing, right? So just be mindful and notice yourself, watch yourself as you're thinking about, what is this job I want? Why do I want it? How am I deciding to do this? Where are my doubts and fears? What are the obstacles I think I'm going to run into, because ultimately the decision to go into a new position in school leadership, it all starts with a thought. Now, I want to say something about your thoughts. For those of you who are new to my work, thoughts create results. So when you have a thought in your brain and you start pondering that thought and contemplating it and really like putting it into your vision of like, oh, I could become a school leader. I actually could do this, or I could actually go up to district level. When you start to think about that, your thoughts start triggering a different level of emotions within you. And that emotions are energy inside the body, and it vibrates, right? Sometimes you have like low, sad vibrations in your body, or like disappointment or discouragement, or you have really high vibe energy in your body. You're really excited and enthusiastic, and you're energetic, and you're motivated, and you're determined, and you're really going for it. Like you can have really high levels of vibrations in your body, or those lower ones, right? Just know that throughout the process of interviewing, you're going to experience both ends, right? You're going to have fun, and you're going to be enjoying yourself. You're going to be excited and motivated and energetic. And then there's going to be times where you're sad and you're disappointed and you're discouraged and you just feel down. And you don't have that energy. Just know that that is normal. That's a normal ebb and flow of the process. Life is 50-50 no matter what. And I also want to say this up front. You intellectually know that your job is not responsible for your happiness. It's not your job's job to make you feel happy all of the time. And it's not your job's job to assume that you should be happy in the role, no matter what your role is. So if you're trying to leave one position and gain another because you're unhappy and you think the job is going to make you feel happy, just know that any position in the world, there are going to be times where it isn't fun, or it feels difficult, or you're struggling, or you're discouraged. It's not always going to be happy or fun. Just know that ahead of time. And if your decision to pursue a new role or position within the district or within your school or at another school, whatever it is you think is the solution to your happiness, just know that every job has its 50-50 balance, right? You want to find peace and make peace with where you're at now, and notice that, oh, my thoughts are creating my emotions. My thoughts are making me feel discontent, or, disillusioned, or discouraged, or resentful, or whatever it is you're feeling, right? The job is not the problem. Now, that's not to say there's not a best fit, right? There are people who are meant to be kindergarten teachers, and that's a best fit, versus teaching fifth grade, or people who are high school teachers versus elementary teachers. Yes, you can be a teacher, but you want to find the right seat on the bus for you that feels like alignment to you. So there are jobs out there that are a better fit, that are naturally a better fit for us, that we do feel happier when we're doing them because it's aligned, but it's not coming from the job itself. Because if you've ever taught kindergarten, you have great days and you have hard days. I taught kindergarten for a long time, and there are people who are at my school teaching fifth grade saying, I would never do that. I could never do that. So they were happy in fifth, I was happy in kinder, but it didn't mean I didn't have hard days or challenging years. So some thoughts that I want to offer to help you make the decision, thoughts that trigger the decision-making process for a change, are perhaps things like, I can handle being here in my current job, and I also want to move on. It's okay just to want to move on. You don't have to hate the job in order to want to get out of it. You can love it and still want to leave it. Or you can feel like, I'm ready for a new challenge. I'm ready for a change. This isn't quite the match for me. It's that whole idea of, I want to be teaching kindergarten, but I'm teaching fifth grade, and I'm a great teacher. It's just that I am better serving students when I'm in kindergarten versus fifth grade, right? And you might want to find the right job for you, one that feels better, one that's that right fit, like I was talking about, okay? So imagining possibility is about deciding what's possible for you. You want to have thoughts about yourself and the position out there and your skill set. You want to be thinking and imagining and just playing in your mind, like how it's going to feel to be in that position, what impact you're going to make when you get into that position, what you'd prioritize, how you'd spend your time. You want to really live in your mind before you ever take action in just the possibility that's available to you. Do you believe right now, as you're watching this webinar, that it's possible for you to be happy in your job and to be in the ideal fitting job for you? Do you believe that that's possible? You want to start thinking about that. This is this phase one of just imagining and floating in the land of possibility about what could be. What would you, if you could dream up anything, what would that look like? You want to dream up the ideal job before you tell yourself it's not available, right? Because it is available, I promise you that. And there's wanting to make a change, and then there is deciding to make a change. And what I'm asking you to do by the end of this webinar today is to make a decision about what you want. Not just thinking about it, not just daydreaming, that's all a part of it, but deciding. This is who I want to become. This is how I want to serve in education. I'm going to decide, I'm going to create a moment of decision in my life right now that's going to change the trajectory of my career. That's going to change how I pursue my career and how I serve the world. And when you decide, it means you cut off all other options and you're committed 100%. And the thought I want you to walk away with today is, I'm going to get hired in a job that is an ideal fit for me. I want you to write that down. I'm going to get hired in a job that is an ideal fit for me. So if there's 40 of you watching right now, there are 40 different ideal positions because each of you have a different match, a want match, I call it. And you'll know you've committed to this thought, to this process, and you've gone all in 100% because of the actions you're going to take the minute you get off this webinar, okay? So I always want to highlight this first phase. You have to make an intentional decision, and that intentional decision comes from believing that it's possible to have that job. Now, you're going to make the decision. You're going to say, I'm 100%, I'm all committed, I'm all in. What do I have to do? Tell me what to do. There will be a moment after the decision, which what happens right now is your brain's like, okay, but how? I want to know the how. I want to know the right approach. What actions do I have to take? Give me the checklist and I'll do it. So what a lot of people end up doing when they make the decision to get their ideal job and to land that ideal job is you start researching, you start taking these actions like researching other districts, talking to people, collecting information, going to trainings like this, which is wonderful that you're here to learn about how to evolve yourself in order to create that match for you and the job that you want. But for most people, at some point, a new thought creeps in and creates doubt. You start down the path where you're excited and you're engaged, and then you go, oh no, this could be a mistake, or I didn't realize, and you start talking to people and asking them what they think and what they think you should do and for their opinions. And all of a sudden your brain's like, whoa, I'm not ready for this. Or I'm not qualified, or maybe this is a mistake. Maybe I should just stay put and be happy with where I'm at. Or you start thinking to yourself, maybe you go through the interview process, you're like, there's nothing better out here. This is hard. This is harder than I thought. You're going to experience doubt and fear at some point in this process. We just call out for what it is because we don't let it stop us. Because what we try to do is we try to circumvent the doubt and the fear. We try to go around it or we try to avoid it versus feeling it, being like, I'm really scared to do this. I'm not sure I'm ready, but I'm going to go for it anyway. You have to overcome that obstacle. So what we do is we stall in action and we settle for what is, or we look to outside of ourselves. I can't tell you how many times we do this. We look to other people for the answers. But whether you go outside of yourself or you just stop and freeze and you don't take any more action, either way, the trajectory has shifted. You've let doubt now take the wheel and it's now running the course. and you are not in possibility anymore. You're not being driven by possibility and potential and the impact you can create, and you're not being motivated by those thoughts. You've now slipped into like all of the reasons why you shouldn't do it and you can't, and why it's not ready and you're not right. Okay. So phase one, this is the solution to the doubt and the fear. You're going to determine your values. You're going to decide what your leadership values are. You get to pick them, not other people. Everybody else has different values. Don't go asking people what your leadership values should be. No, ask yourself, what are your leadership values? What do you value? What do you value most? And then you prioritize those values. You will not feel like you're in an ideal fit in a position if you are leading your career by somebody else's values. They have to be yours for you to feel aligned and grounded and assured of yourself. Okay. Determine your own values and prioritize those values. And the reason I say prioritize them is because if you don't, they will all feel equally important and you won't know which values to make your decisions from. Okay. So decide what you want most for your future self, right? When you're thinking about your future career and the person you're becoming in your future, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, 3 years down the road, what do you want most for that person, for her or for him or for they? What do you want most for them? Okay. And this is the moment where you need to get completely honest with yourselves. Don't BS yourself. Don't tell yourself things that you really don't believe are true. Or don't tell yourself things because they sound good or other people would approve of them. This is the time to get honest and clear with yourself. What do you want and why? What are your fears and doubts? What are you avoiding? What would it take to commit 100%? What do you know that you don't want? Let's be clear about what we do want. Let's also be clear about what we don't want. And then what would just delight you? Doesn't have to be rigid or doesn't have to be 100% this or 100% that. What would just delight you? What would be a nice to have? I'd love to be in an elementary school with about 500 kids and an assistant principal, or I'd love to be an AP at a middle school. I'd love to be a high school lead principal, director. They have different titles, right? What would delight you? What would just feel like magic and fun? Let yourself go there. This doesn't have to be so serious. What would just be a pure delight to experience on a daily basis as a school leader? And then what I like to ask myself is, what's over the top? Let's go audacious on this one. And how good can it get? Like what I want to push my brain to that outer limit of what I think is possible for me to love and enjoy and have fun in my life and in my career. All that balance, all that love, connecting with you, just loving the people you work with, loving your community, loving your students, like jumping out of bed with excitement to get in and get busy and do the things, not overworking, not overexhausting ourselves, overexerting, just loving life on all ends. How far can it go? How possible is that for you? Push your brain a little bit there, okay? Phase one, also the second part of this solution. So you're going to get honest and clear with yourself, make that decision from honesty and clarity and alignment to your leadership values. And then you're going to get into some strategy. So there's decisions that are coming from your thoughts and your values and the energy in which you want to create for yourself and that experience for you. And then you want to get into the strategy piece, okay? This is when you determine the obstacles that you're going to anticipate. You're going to pitfall plan and what obstacles might get in your way of landing this ideal job. And then you want to try and solve for those ahead of time. So just list, what do you think is going to be a problem? Are you nervous to interview? Is interviewing not your best skill set? Are you worried like you're going to be asked a question you won't know the answer to? Are you like fine in the interview process, but you're more like you hate writing the resume and doing the cover letters? Maybe it's that part you don't really like and you put it off and procrastinate, or you just, you do B- work and it's not presenting to people the best version of you. So think about the potential obstacles that you might have personally and just write them down. This is another practice in honesty with ourselves. It's like, I'm not sure how to handle this, or I really don't like this part, or I'm afraid people will think this. Whatever you think is going to be a problem for you, write it down. And then for each obstacle that you wrote down, what's a potential solution? You might not know the answer, but just guess and move on. You're just creating a theory as to what might be the solution. And if you had to be handling that problem, if you were in the moment of handling that problem, how would you handle it? Make yourself answer this. This is very, very important. When you do this, what it does is it gives you solutions ahead of time, so your brain and your body can relax during the interview process. So it's not like locked in fear or worry that the one question you don't know is going to come your way, and then you're not going to be able to answer it. You want to have a solution to that. If a question comes your way and you don't know how to answer it, what would you do? You're going to answer it to the best of your ability. You're going to take a deep breath, give your brain a minute to kind of think and collect itself. And you might practice saying, that's a great question. That's an interesting question. Let me think on that for a second. Give yourself some time. That's just an example of what you might do if a question you don't know how to answer comes your way. Okay. So thinking about potential problems, coming up with a solution. And guess what? It doesn't matter what the solution is. It tells your brain, it's okay. We've got this. We've got a solution. If this should come up, we've thought this through. Okay. So be mindful of that. Now we're going to get into phase 2, which is the interview prep process. And I started leaning into that already. But during phase 2, after you've decided and you're very clear about what you want and what you don't, and what will delight you and what will be over the top, now we're going to start the interview prep. So this is where you get this is the action phase. You're going to get the checklist. You're going to mark down everything you need to actually do, take action. So this is when you're going to make a to-do list. You're going to prioritize it. You're going to calendar it on your schedule for the week. And then you're going to actually have to do the things. You have to honor the work that it takes to get the ideal job. The ideal job is not going to land in your lap while you're sitting there not doing anything. You could be daydreaming about it, but you have to take action in addition to knowing what you want and what you don't and what would delight you. You have to take action, right? So you have to schedule them on your calendar, and there's going to be things you don't want to do. So you plan ahead of time for that. And there are, I call this the belief triad. When you're interviewing, there are 3 things that you have to lean on during the interview process. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that there are people out there who want to hire you. And you have to believe in the process, that the ideal job is out there with your name on it. So the 3 thoughts I want to offer you is, I'm ready and prepared. People want to hire me. And the ideal job is available with my name on it. It's out there waiting for me, not for somebody else, but for you. So you want to get very clear on those leadership values so that you can attract that job. You can be the match to that job, and you are the person who's meant for that ideal job. The ideal job is out there, but you have to be the ideal person for that job. So you've got to meet it halfway, right? So you're going to determine what the district would look like, the energy, the vibe you want to work in, the type of people, the type of students you want to serve, the neighborhoods, the communities, the reason for those, the reason behind the reason that you want to serve these people. You want to dig a little bit deeper. And then who do I have to become in order to land this job? And the first phase is all about the decision-making process and knowing where your doubts creep in and getting honest with yourself and coming up with those solutions. And then phase 2 is really about the actions that you're going to take to prepare. Most people, they skip phase 1 or paying attention to phase 1, and they go right into like, do my resume. Can you overlook this? Practice interviewing questions. They just dive into all the actions, and those are actions you do need to take. But then there are other actions that you take that you might not realize that are consuming your time and your focus and your mental and emotional energy. And sometimes these are distractions from doing the work you need to do that feels challenging or hard, right? Things like calling friends who've already moved on, talking in the Facebook groups up for input, asking other people, researching, spending a lot of time researching the districts or other types of jobs, like spending hours looking for more information to your answers, calling colleagues. And none of that's really a problem, but you can use it to buffer against doing the real work you know you need to do, which is answering your own questions and spending your brain power on selling yourself on who you are and who you're becoming, so that you can then sell yourself to that district. So active belief building requires you to know what you want and why you want it, to take the time to determine your lifestyle values and vision, to determine specifically the ideal position for you, and then build up as much evidence as possible that the position is available to you and is waiting for you, okay? You want to work just as much as you're doing the actions of the resume and the interview prep and the questions and the researching. You want to be actively building up your belief in yourself and that people want you and that the position is ready. The belief triad: believing in yourself that you're ready, believing that people want you, and believing that there is the job out there waiting for you. Okay. So again, those 3 beliefs, I want you to write these down. I am capable and ready right now. People want to hire me, and there is an ideal job available just for me, waiting for me. Okay. Now, your work, the reason you even go into the interview process, and this is the preparation that I am inviting you to do, is you've got to sell yourself really hard on you. You have to believe so hard in yourself, 100% in yourself, in order for you to sell them on you. You've got to believe in you for them to believe in you. If you walk into an interview and you're all nervous and you don't think you're ready and you don't think they want to hire you and you don't know if this is the right position for you or not, no one's going to hire that person, that type of energy. That's not what school leadership is about. They want someone who comes in and is like, I'm ready. I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to plan for them ahead of time. I'm coming in. I'm coming in ready to be new. I'm ready to get it wrong. I'm ready to make it right. I'm ready. And you guys want me, and here's why. I'm going to sell you hard on why I'm the right person for you, why this is the best school, this is the best match for me. Here's how I'm going to over deliver. Here is what I have to offer. You've got to want this, right? You want to inspire them to make them feel good about the decision that they're about to make, which is to offer you a position. So now we're going to step into phase 3, which is the interview process. You've decided, you've committed, you've built up your belief triad in yourself, the process, and people that are going to hire you. And now you're actually into the phase of interview, okay? You want to create a problem solution match. So the purpose of the interview, the reason that we go through the interview process, whether you're the person hiring or you're the person interviewing, the purpose of that interview is to be a problem solution match for one another. You want to create as much comfort as possible in that interview process. You want the people who are interviewing you to feel comfortable with you, to feel safe, to feel like they can trust you. And you want to create a problem solution match. They have a problem, and their interview process is the process of solving that problem. They have a problem. They have an opening that they need filled. And they need it to be a school leader who's ready to go, who believes in him or herself, who wants to take on challenges, who believes in the process, who believes that even if they get it wrong, they'll make it right. This isn't about being a perfect principal. This is about being an empowered principal. So the purpose is to create that sense of problem solution match. I'm offering you my empowerment. I'm going to show you how I'm going to lead my school. And I'm going to do it with purpose and intent. And I know I'm going to make mistakes. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be empowered. Okay. You want to be the solution to their problem, and you want them to be your solution to your problem. So you also have a problem. Your problem is you want to get hired, and you want them to be your solution. So you're going to offer them a solution. Here's what I have to offer. And you're going to help them see the process that you've used to create results in your past. That's how you sell them. This is how I became a teacher. These are the obstacles I have overcome in my past. Here's how I created solutions. Here's how I'm going to create solutions as a school leader. Okay. And one of the tips I give my clients that I'm working with is I say, try to anticipate ahead of time their objections, what they think is going to be the reason why they don't offer you the position. What might get in the way of them being, this is our person. This is a yes, this is a match. This is the person we want. Acknowledge those objections and know your weaklings. Like, you're not perfect, and that's okay. We don't want somebody walking into an interview who thinks they're perfect and has no weaknesses. You want to acknowledge those, and you want to say, like, I struggle. I'm trying to think of something. I struggle with people pleasing, but here's how I compensate for that. I know I tend to people please. So before I say yes to a project, I ask myself these 3 questions, right? Create a process for yourself that gives the solution to your own weaknesses. So they're like, oh, she acknowledges her weaknesses and she's got solutions to them. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people who are problem solvers, okay? So when you think about a problem solution match and you think about the interviewing process, it's kind of like dating, right? They're interviewing you, you're interviewing them. You're seeing, are we a match? Do I want to go on a second date with you? Do I want to commit to a full year of being your school leader? And do they want to commit to having you be that school leader, right? You want to think of it like dating. Now, do not use this against yourself. What you don't want to do is you don't want to beat yourself up if you don't get hired or you don't get the offer, and tell yourself, oh, I wasn't the match. I wasn't good enough. I don't have what it takes, right? The purpose of the interview is also for you to be interviewing them. This is a two-way street. They're not all in charge here. You can come in, you're also interviewing them. It has to be a match for both of you. And the problem is, you want your first leadership position or you want to change positions, and you have a certain set of standards and qualities you're looking for in a district. Just like you would be if you were dating, you have certain standards and qualities you're looking for in a mate, in a partner. So everybody needs to be a match. Now, when you're in the interview process, you're actually going through the process of interviewing. When you're thinking about how do I become the match for a district that I want to be in? So I can think back to a couple of my clients who hired me prior to getting into school leadership because they wanted me to coach them through the interview process. And one of my clients, Kate, had her heart set on this particular school district, but she was so worried about, was she a match for them? I invited her to look at it from the flip side, understand their problems. Like, what problems are they facing? You want to focus on them. When you're talking in the interview, you want to be showing them how you're helping them solve their problems. So you want to be in their minds. What are they thinking about? What are they wanting? Why? Notice what they ask and how they ask it, because those questions are going to help you see and have insight into the problems they're facing, because no district has no problem. Like, there's not a district out there without problems. So when they have to hire somebody, they're like, okay, we want him or her or they to be able to do this thing, to handle this community or this group of students or this staff. So you want to be thinking what's in their brain, what's happening for them. Ask a lot of clarifying questions, be in their head as much as possible. And then once you can see what's going on, you want to offer a solution. Here's what I can offer. I want you to be honest and open and willing to be true about what you have to offer and know your value ahead of time. Here's the results I've created. Paint the vision of how you can help them. This is what I can help you with. This is what I'm really good at. I'm great with students this way, or I'm really good at coaching teachers this way, or I know how to make connections with the community. I've done this in my past. Look, wherever your strengths are, highlight those. Paint that vision of, oh, you want to get more parents coming into parent conferences, or, oh, you want more parents volunteering. I'm really good at that. Here's how. Here's what I did in my classroom to get parents to come in and create safety and trust. Or here's how I created community within my school and empowered my teachers to go out and bring those volunteers in. You want to be thinking about what you have been able to accomplish, what's easy for you, the solutions you can offer right off the cuff that you don't need more experience for, right? And again, anticipate any objections or obstacles in their mind. Like, oh, but she's really young. How are you going to, if they think you're too young, or if they think it's your first principalship, they're trying to hire somebody with experience. How are you going to tackle that ahead of time? What do you have to offer, even if you're young or even if you're new? Okay. It's not wrong to have weaknesses. It's just being human. And acknowledging that is so refreshing. Okay. Now, what creates a problem solution match? How do you land that ideal job? The interview team has to feel like they know you, that you've given them enough of who you are for them to feel like they know you a little bit, and they have to like you and they have to trust you, right? They have to be able to visualize you on their team, you being a teammate, you being the member they want to work with. You want to be the teammate that they want to work with. They want someone who's happy and positive and confident and comfortable and inviting and welcoming. So you want to be all of that. Okay. Now, this is very interesting. I love this part of the interview process, step 3, because when you're thinking about them and how you can serve them and how you're going to help them solve problems, you're also thinking about what do they need to feel? What emotions do they need to feel in order to make the offer? Because our thoughts trigger our emotions impact what we decide to do, our actions, our decisions, and our actions. So what would a person need to be feeling for them to say, I'm offering this person the position. This is an ideal match. I want them. They have to be interested in you. They have to be engaged. They have to feel understood by you. Like, she sees what we need. He knows where we're going. They understand who we are in this district and our vision, right? You want them to feel comfortable with you and connected to you. And you want them to feel like this decision is safe. I trust my decision. I'm confident in this decision. They have to feel good about the offer they're making to you. You want them to feel like you want them to feel assured. This is our person. Here's the thoughts they have to be thinking. This interview is so much fun. This is so engaging. I like what this person had to say. They know exactly what we're looking for. This person's approachable, can totally see us working together. Hiring this person is a wise decision. This person is our solution match. This is the match we've been looking for. And here's how you can show up. You just want to create that same energy for yourself. You've got to hold the space in that interview for them and for you. You want this to be fun for you. You want to think the same thoughts. Think the same thoughts and generate the same emotions. You want to be interested by them and engaged and understood. And you want to feel comfortable with them. And you want to feel safe to say yes to that offer and to have the confidence that you can handle anything that comes your way. This interview is fun. I like what they have to say. They're exactly what I'm looking for. I can totally see myself working here. Hiring me is the wise decision. We are a problem solution match. You want to be thinking the same thoughts. Okay. So when people follow this process, when they make intentional decisions, prepare for the interview, and they go through the process, they get a yes right away. Some of them on their first try. It's been a miracle to watch client after client after client landing the ideal job that they want. So if you get a yes, you're going to be a little bit shocked. I just want you to take a deep breath and let it sink in before you take any action. If you get that offer, just like relish the moment and celebrate, acknowledge yourselves and notice, what am I thinking and feeling right now? I got the offer, I got the email, or I even got a hard copy. What am I thinking and feeling? Capture that. Celebrate this moment. It's huge. You created a win, a success, an accomplishment. Celebrate yourself. Like, actively decide, I'm going to celebrate this job offer, even if you don't say yes to it, the fact that you got the offer, now the ball's in your court and you can decide yes or no. Most of you are going to say yes if it is an ideal match for you, but really relish that moment. Now, what's more likely to happen is you're going to really attach to a certain position or a certain district or a certain school, and you're going to feel like you nailed the interview process. I have a future client, he just got signed on and he's working on getting coaching lined up for next year. But I helped him get hired. I coached him and he got a lot of no's and he didn't stop. He didn't let it distract him or disappoint him. It's not that he didn't feel the disappointment, but he didn't let it prevent him from prevailing and keeping going. So you can process the disappointment when you get a no and you're attached and you really wanted a job and it hurts. It stings when you don't get the offer. Don't rush that process. Just sit with it. Be disappointed for a little bit. But then after you've processed that disappointment, you want to reflect on the process. What about the interview worked? What did I learn? And what am I going to adjust for next time? And maybe nothing needs to be adjusted. Maybe it's just wasn't the right match for whatever reason, and be okay with that. Just know that when you get no's, you want to collect no's, because what no means is that it just wasn't the right match for you. Your ideal job is still out there waiting. It's just like dating, like I said. When you dating somebody and you thought they were the one, and then they break up with you and you're super heartbroken and super discouraged and disappointed, you're going to take some time to process those feelings, but you're going to get back in the saddle, right? You're going to know that this just wasn't the match for me, but I know it's out there for me. So be curious and explore your thoughts while you're processing no's. You want to stockpile no's. The more no's you get means the closer you are to a yes, right? The more toads you kiss, you get closer to your ideal mate. It means nothing about you as a human. You're capable, you're ready right now, okay? You can learn and adjust, but it's not the same as believing that something's wrong with you. And I want you to see that. There's a difference between receiving feedback and having to adjust your interview approach or your prep or your mindset. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you as a human. You're inherently worthy 100% of any position on the planet. I promise you. One of the recommendations I have is to detach from attachment. Apply to everything. I have a client who is eager to move on, and she was applying only one job at a time because she was applying and then attaching and then going all in on that interview process, and then she'd get a no, and it broke her heart. I told her, go out and apply to all of them, because you won't be so fixated on one, attaching to one job offer. If you have, 3 or 4 offers out there that are possible, then if one goes down, you're like, I still have 3 more options. Not a big deal. You never know what's going to be that ideal match. You want to apply to things, and you don't want to filter out things ahead of time. So one of my clients was reading through the job description and being like, oh, that's not for me. And you can do that to some extent, but if it's a job in school leadership and it's potentially something that you would want, apply to it. It might be the exact thing you were looking for. Okay. Some final words. This process really requires you to be in full belief. But when I say full belief, I don't mean 100%, never waver, never feel fear or doubt. I'm talking 51%. You believe just a little bit more than you don't. You've got to believe in yourself that it's possible, that it's out there, that people want to work with you, that you're the perfect match, that you're ready right now. It's what I call a relaxed confidence. So you're believing, and yeah, you still might have some doubts or have some fears, and you want that job and you want to be eager, but you're confident enough to know that other jobs are out there available to you. Because you don't want to go into the interview process like graspy and needy and grabbing, like trying to like oversell yourself. You want to come in and be like, here's what I have to offer. I think I'm a great match. I think you're a great match. I have some questions for you. I have some, some solutions I might want to offer for you and your district in this position. And just be willing to get the no. Don't attach to one position. Know that there is a right job out there for you. It's kind of like buying a house too. My husband and I, within the last 2 years have moved into our new home. And it's easy to get very attached to a home and then see it be sold and then be disappointed. We had to just know like the timing and the right house at the right time will be there waiting for us. We can't get attached to any one home or any one location or any one, any one particular thing. We have to be open to receiving whatever is coming our way and just to know it's out there and it's going to be the perfect match. So you don't need to be in a rush. Just know the right one will come along at the right time. Be very confident in that offer. And one thing I want to help you avoid a pitfall, don't go crazy over offering. Don't say you can do all these things that you can't do. Offering more and more value, just like thinking that they aren't sold yet on you or they don't want you, and then you keep offering something that you really don't know how to do. Don't go crazy with that. Stay in your lane of truth and be honest with them and yourself about, what you have to offer. Okay. So those are the steps. And I'm going to take questions in a minute, but I want to give you an opportunity to start working on these 3 phases right now, because working on these phases is what's going to get you that job. So I want to end this whole training by talking about coaching for those of you who are interested and considering having a school leadership coach. If you're at the place in your career where you think it's going to help you and you're ready to learn more about how to be a very highly effective school leader, I'm going to walk you through everything that I cover in the Empowered Principal Coaching Program. So if you're a new principal and you want one-to-one support from a coach who's an expert in school leadership, I've been doing this a very long time, or you're a principal who's maybe been in it for a few years, but you want to hone your skills and you want to maximize your efficiency and your effectiveness, you want to create more influence and impact as a school leader and start to build a legacy as a thought leader in school leadership, and you want to maximize your top assets, which is time for your brain, your time, and your resources, which is what we talked about in today's training, now is the time to sign up for coaching. When you think about what you want most out of your career in school leadership, what you really want the most, number 1 is to make a positive impact for your staff and students and community. You want to be a leader who is positive and creates positive impact. And you want to have fun while you're doing it. You don't want to be overwhelmed and overworked and exhausted and burned out and completely miserable. You want to have fun along the journey. Working hard and over delivering is not what most principals struggle with. I don't have to coach people on showing up and working really hard. That's not what you struggle with. Most principals struggle with managing their time well, saying no to taking everything on, trying not to people please, right? They slip into the habit of overworking. That's where I see my principals struggling. It's not that you don't have the hustle and you don't have the grit and the perseverance and the will to work really hard. It's the opposite. It's the struggle of, how do I stop overworking? How do I stop saying yes to everything? How can I lead effectively and work less? And these struggles are why principals end up overworking, not enjoying themselves, burning out, and wanting to get out of school leadership. That's why 1 in 3 school leaders leave within 5 years, because we do overwork and we do hustle and we do overexert ourselves. So for those of you who want to dive deeper into being the school leader you want to be without overextending yourself for the entire course of your career, that's what the Empowered Principal Program is all about. It's an exclusive, personalized coaching program. I offer 1-to-1, you and I directly on the phone for 30 minutes a week, coaching you on school leadership to apply the coaching to whatever specific problem that you are having in real time. Okay. So what you learn throughout the course of coaching together is how to handle new situations, how to be a first-year leader or be new in a position. The first of everything is hard, feels harder to us. I teach you how to be new, whether you're a new school leader or whether you're in a new position. I teach you how to prioritize your values, how to make decisions very swiftly and with confidence, where you never question and doubt yourself. You just know this is the best decision. This is right. This is why it's right. I teach you how to go through a decision-making process called intentional belief building. I help you maximize your top resources. Now think about this. This is where I'm forever sold on coaching. Your top assets are your brain. Your brain creates your life through its thoughts, through its content creation, through its decision-making process. Your brain is your most important, valuable asset. You want to protect it at all costs, and you want to give it a lot of time and resources, which is your other two top resources. So you've got your brain, you've got your money, you've got your time. Financial resources, material resources, human resources like other people. You want to learn how to maximize those resources so that you can be the best version of yourself, so that people and students can be the best version of themselves. Creating authentic connections, navigating difficult people, difficult conversations. That's a hard part of school leadership. It's not just that you're juggling a lot of things and you need to be very efficient with your time. There's also the emotional and mental fatigue that sets in when you're dealing with challenging people or difficult situations or holding conversations or having to react to other people's behaviors or decisions that they made. And then you're cleaning up a mess that another person has created. Okay. I teach you how to go through all of that. We're going to increase the value that you provide as a principal. And I'm going to teach you how to attract ideal teachers into your school. You want the teachers who are a match for you. And this interview process can be helpful when you think about it in terms of being the person who's doing the interviewing, who's doing the hiring. You can use this process in reverse to attract ideal teachers and staff for your school. I'm going to teach you how to get out of hustle mode, because ultimately what we're creating here is sustainability. I want you to enjoy your life in and outside of school leadership. You're not only a school leader. We want to define you as so much more than that. Yes, it's important. The job is big, the job is heavy. It can be cumbersome at times. It can be overwhelming at times. And you are a human who has a life outside of school leadership. And we want to keep those in check and in balance. And I teach people how to live very delightful and joyful lives that they feel satisfied with. They feel content with their life. And why this all works is, number one, having somebody that you can talk to in private in confidence, just one-on-one, allows you to be honest with yourself, to be open, and to get to the heart of the matter. When you have a coach that is a colleague or a superior, you're not going to say the honest things. You're not going to process what's really going on for you, because you don't want them to know what's going on in your head. And you want to show them that you're competent and capable. And we tend to hold ourselves back if we're being coached by peers or colleagues or the people that are superiors, right? This allows you to be in a very safe, private, confidential space where you can say the truth of what's going on for you. And it gives you somebody in your corner every step of the way. You're not alone in having to make these decisions, and you're not alone on this journey. You don't have to feel so isolated. I know I felt extremely isolated as a school leader. I was the only admin on my campus. I didn't have APs. I didn't have assistant principals. I didn't have vice principals. I had nobody except myself. It can be very isolating. Having a coach helps you feel like you're on a team with somebody, that they trust you and you trust them, and you can come and you can share the truth of what's going on. And coaching will allow you to see those obstacles either in advance, or will coach through them in real time when unexpected obstacles pop up. But what we do is we get to them so you're not spinning out for days or weeks or months on end. You're in a solution creation process much faster when you have coaching. And then you stay aligned to your vision for your school, your vision for your career, your vision for your teachers and your students and your community. You stay aligned to those values and your vision and your priorities, which means that goals are achieved more quickly. And what I love most about this work is that you get to become the person who embodies empowered leadership. And you carry that empowerment with you in all areas of your life. As a parent, as a sibling, as a partner, as a friend, with your parents' relationships, with your kids' relationships, you can apply coaching to every aspect of your life, every relationship of your life. So again, What you'll get is weekly one-on-one coaching calls, tailored notes. I take notes for you so that you can be fully immersed in the coaching. I will send those to you. And I send you tools and exercises and mini lessons. There's training videos and themed workbooks that go along with something you might be working on. I will send those to you directly so you don't have to sort through all of the resources that I have available. Of course, you have access to all of my best tools and strategies and trainings, and I always over deliver to every single client. Again, what we cover is we're going to determine your leadership values and vision. I'm going to teach you how to prioritize your schedule. I'm going to walk you through all of the decisions you have to make throughout the course of a year. We're going to create connections with other people, even the difficult ones. Okay. We're going to process the emotions that are coming up for you. And I want you to know that the best part about coaching is that the time is strictly for you. You're not having to take care of other people. This is where I take care of you. I listen to you. I help you. You walk away with solutions and you feel so much better by the end of our 30-minute call. So again, the benefits, you're not leading in isolation. You always have someone on your team in your corner advocating for yourself, your dreams, your goals. Somebody who is not conflicting with your goals, who is in alignment with your goals. I'm going to help you stay on track and maintain perspective when things get chaotic. We're going to value work-life balance and self-care. And every coaching session is personalized to you. So you gain clarity and confidence, you expedite your transformation as a leader, and then you build a very unique skill set that excels your performance for the rest of your career. You go years beyond people without a coach because you transform over and over. You evolve your self-concept at a 10 times the rate of somebody who doesn't have a coach, because we get to the heart of the matter every single week. So here's what I'm going to offer. For those of you who are ready to dive in, you're super excited. I know you want to have a coach. It's so innovative. It's so interesting. It's so fun, by the way. We get on and we laugh. We have a good time and we maintain perspective about the craziness of the school year. If you're all in and ready for that, and that's what the experience you want to create for yourself as a new leader or as a leader who's aspiring into a new position, just number one, make a decision that you are worth it. You're worth the time investment, you're worth the financial investment, and that you're ready and that you want this. And I know that you do. Having a coach is amazing. It feels incredible. You feel like you can tackle anything that comes your way. So once you have made that decision, all you have to do is schedule a consult call. You go to my website, angelakellycoaching.com, click on work with me, schedule a consult. We talk. I'll give you a call at the scheduled time, whatever time is best for you. I'll call you then. We jump on the phone for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. I find out where you're at and where you want to be, and I'll teach you how I can help you. All you have to do is say yes. It's as simple as that. It's really simple, easy, and doable. No prep is required on your part. Coaching's conducted over the phone. You don't even have to be Zoom ready. And it's only 30 minutes a week. So you have plenty of time to fit it into your work week. All right. So that's the end of the webinar. I'm going to stay on for questions. And if you're ready to sign up for consults, or you have any questions about coaching, or you have any questions about the hiring process, you can ask it here on the call, or you can reach out to me directly if you'd like to have a direct conversation with me, a private, personal, confidential conversation. We can do that offline as well. Have an amazing rest of your week. I hope this has been helpful, and I know you're going to land that ideal job if you follow this process and you're not willing to give up. Let yourself collect those no's. It's totally fine. You can handle no's because you're one step closer to a yes. I love you all. Take good care of yourselves. Have an amazing week, and I will talk with you very soon. Take good care. Bye.